Go. Hey folks, good evening and welcome to Wednesday. There you go. Hope everybody enjoyed the show yesterday. Not quite as extreme as we would have liked it, but whenever the opportunity comes along, I'm out there with the high winds. There's nothing better, it has to be said, even though for your average passenger on a jetliner, it's a hairy experience to say the least. But we enjoy it, and of course everyone gets down safely, and of course if they don't, it's a go around, and which case they normally will go around and come back again. Sometimes they will do it multiple times, and there's only so many times they can attempt it, and I think after the third attempt they have to divert to another airfield, usually due to fuel issues. The other yesterday evening, after we finished streaming, they actually closed runway 27 right for landings, and we're putting everything on the left-hand runway. And the reason being was because of the shed effect, which is something that I came up with in terms of just the terminology. But the reason given by London Heathrow was because of the fact that there were extreme winds coming in over the maintenance sheds of British Airways, causing huge problems for the approaching aircraft. And that's normally... You okay? Okay, well, I can hear me on your system there. Okay, we'll turn up your device. Hello! Right, so put your hearing aid in, Grandma. Turn it up! Yes, so where was I? Yeah, well, so the shed effect is something that's obviously quite extreme at London Heathrow, and for them to close down the operational runway means that those winds were a direct southerly and coming in over those sheds and causing all sorts of issues, and causing obviously diverts as well. Gatwick, of course, were also affected last night, as were many other airports around the UK. But it all died down today. But a little bit of a story as to what happened last night. Whilst we packed up, everything was running smooth. Took me about 10-15 minutes to break the system down, and then got in the van, turned it over, tried to move away, and unfortunately that field at the paddock has a little sort of like trough in it at the very front end. And of course, during when I drive the van in there, it's always a case of lining the van up so that I'm missing as many of those lampposts as I can, so I can get the touchdown point nice and juicy just for you guys. So yesterday, what happened? I tried to move the van away. It wouldn't move. I got some stuff out of the van, put it underneath. There was some plastic in the field, put that underneath the wheels. But unfortunately, because the van is an auto, it's an automatic transit, that you just don't get the power out of the drive from the front wheels. So it got pretty hairy. Myself, raining hard, very, very muddy. So it was a case of, what am I going to do? So there's a little builder's merchants, or it's not a builder's merchants, it's a building company just outside the paddock, just down on the left-hand side. Went and rang the bell in there. The boys came out. They gave me a couple of planks, and I took them down with me. But there was a couple of fellas who turned up literally as I was at the gate, and he said, "What are you doing there, mate?" I said, "I'm stuck in a field." He said, "What field?" I said, "That one over there." He said, "Oh, I know. You're the fella who stands on the van." I'm like, "Yeah, that's the one." He said, "Well, wait a minute. I'll go and get my Jeep, and I'll come and tow you out." So that was the deal. I went up to the gate. I said, "I'll open the gate for you." He went off. I went up there with these two sort of like, you know, sections of ply, which were sort of like, you know, a metre and a half long, both of them. And of course, that's what those guys at the Builders Merchants gave me to try and wedge underneath the wheels and drive the van out. However, got to the gate, stood there for about 10 minutes. The fella didn't turn up, so I'm like, okay, that's a little bit. You wouldn't really say stay there. I'll come and tow you out and not turn up. So I sort of like, I went down to, there was a boozer down the road where there were a couple of fellas sitting in there. One geezer had a tow truck, which was far too big to drive in there. He would have got stuck himself. So he phoned the geezer who owns the Builders Merchants. We went back round to there because he said that the fella had a tractor. You with me so far? He said he had a tractor. He phoned him up and he said, no, sorry mate, I've sold the tractor. So sold the tractor, so he had absolutely nothing. So the next thing was, okay, what I'll do is, maybe if I get a shovel and a spade, I could dig a trench. So take out the hump and just dig a straight trench for the van to roll down into. Of course, you got clearance at the front of the van there, which would have been an issue as well. So anyway, I've kind of given up on the fella who said that he was going to come and tow me out. So I've gone back to the van. I'm trying to wallop these things. It's hammering down with rain. You know, I'm trying to wallop these things in the front here like this, getting in the vans. The wheels are just spinning out. There's no power there because it's an auto, isn't it? So you can't like sling it in first and like give it loads of revs or anything like that. So anyway, I've gone round the other side and I've looked over at the gates just in case the fella's there, and I've seen this 4x4 sort of like, you know, Isuzu type thing, and I've looked at it, or Toyota, and I've looked over there and he's going like that, and I'm like, he's here, he's here. I've gone over the gate and I'm like, mate, you're a legend for coming back. He's got this proper 4x4 Toyota, whatever it is, Shogun type thing, and his mate's there as well. Open the gates, get the horses out the way, we go in. Long story short, basically, he tried to tow me out the front. He was going to tow me out the front, realised there's no tow hitch on the front of the van, so he had to tow it out backwards, which was a little bit dodgy because I've got to sling it in reverse and reverse the van. And of course, his truck, even though it's a 4x4, it was struggling, it has to be said. Itself was digging in, but he's got four-wheel drive, so it all worked out perfectly. But he KO'd the van. Absolute, probably about an inch thick of mud on the back of the van. So we get back to the middle of the field where it's a little bit more grown over. There's a lot of overgrowth there, so I can get a little bit more traction. Managed to get the van back out to the gates where there's a little bit of tarmac there out the other side of the gate. I've given them both a tenner each just to say thank you so much. And guys, that really did restore my faith in humanity last night, as it does regularly with all of you guys out there who watch me, in how supportive you are towards me and towards, for example, the charities that we did over the Christmas period. It just does make me realise there are good people out there, and we are really so fortunate. I am so fortunate and honoured to have you guys, nice people who follow me and work with me on Big Jet TV. But back to the story. So off they go. I've managed to get out. I've got all these carrots in the back of the van. I've cut all the carrots up, slung them over the fence for the horses, and which was funny because when I went there, I've got all these carrots in the back. They're going to love these. Gone to Sainsbury's, bought some nice big carrots for them, and I've gone, oi, and they come over and they're like, ooh, what's that? I'm like, flipping heck, mate. It's a juicy carrot. Anyway, they've noshed a couple of them and then just ridden off, just gone playing in the corner of the field. So anyway, I left the carrots there, got the van back on the road, locked the gate up, and off I've gone. So the next deal was, right, well, I've got to wash the van. Jilly's like, oh, for God's sake, just get home and relax. I'm like, yeah, but if the mud dries, it's going to be a nightmare. I had to move, like, you know, an inch and a half of mud off the back just to get the license plate showing, you know, because I would have been pulled. But anyway, got to Sainsbury's just down the road here, and there's a jet wash there, car wash, jet wash, sort of like combined thing in bays, you know, in bays. And I've got what I call a cage on top of the van. It's something that I fabricated myself with square tubing. It's 3mm thick tubing, squared off tubes, which is 4 corners, you know, so that it's just basically a safety area for me to work on top of the van. So normally what I do is, because I used to go into McDonald's, and a couple of times I've been through this scenario before, where I've driven into McDonald's and wallop, it's just bent the whole thing back, and I've had to go and get a couple more tubes from the boys at the steel place down the road. So anyway, I've just driven in there, and I'm on the phone to Jilly, and I've driven into the Sainsbury's, and wallop, the right hand corner's like bang on the, oh my God, here we go. I've got out the van, and the thing's bent back like this. It's all come off its mountings and everything. All the bolts are bent and everything. So so that's the reason for the technical delays today, folks. I couldn't get on top of the van because I had to refabricate the right hand side of the cage, which is kind of done now. I've managed to do the starboard side. The port side is still going to be finished off tomorrow. So we'll be able to get a Saturday show under our belt. So obviously there's your reason for us not having a midweek show. Well, how long did I manage to bleed out of you there? 15 minutes or something like that. But anyway, listen, I want to do a quick shout out to a fella called Jesse Cole McGowan, who very kindly gave us a little update on our website. A couple of little links not working on there, which we've now fixed, and thank you, Jesse. I really appreciate that. Other than that, so what I've done, what we've decided to do today was we would bring you a show which is a rewind, basically. We've done this a couple of times, but we're going to sort of like stream it live across to you folk. This is a show which we did, a lot of people will remember this, Storm Eric in February last year. This is the actual show where we had the Dreamliner go around, and it only went out live to our members, and it was intense. After the Dreamliner did a go around, I said to Jilly, live on the show, you'll hear it, you'll hear it. I said, Jilly, tweet that now. And then literally, she went quiet because the next hour it went ballistic, where every single news outlet in the world, literally every single news outlet, and this carried on for the best part of a week. Every country you can possibly imagine, every news channel wanted a clip of that Dreamliner go around. Now, a lot of people said, well, how much money did you make out of that? Well, I didn't make anything actually. I made, I think we got a payment. ITV gave us 200 quid for using it in one of their shows. Other than that, we got offered by all these news channels, how much do you want for it? And I was like, I don't want anything for it. All I want you to do is leave that logo in the top right. Obviously, there's a lot of good people out there who keep an eye out for us, and of course Jilly as well, keeping an eye on people who've stolen it, literally used it without our knowledge and without our consent and taking the logo off. The good thing is that when we approach them, they're always like, well, okay, fair enough, sorry about that. We'll put your logo back up, or we'll take it down, and that's what's happened. So no money was made out of that thing, guys. It was a fantastic piece of advertising for us globally to let people know who Big Jet TV are, and as a result of that, we had like well over 1 million views on that particular feature. However, it has to be said, the success of Big Jet TV is definitely now beginning to really come to fruition in terms of our views. 1.5 hours from on top of the Hilton Garden Inn last week to film that A346 South African Airways A346 Star Alliance jetliner going out of London Heathrow. Over 1 million views on that. Of course, YouTube's taking off. We've got a great, a really good a group of members across both channels, and you know, I feel personally like they're all, you know, when they come on the feed, I sort of like, I know there's thousands of them, but I know that I kind of know them, you know, personally. It's like I know them personally. And all these new members that keep coming on as well and giving us great comments and such an informative amount of people as well. I know there's the group, the Tea Party bunch who are like, oh hi John, oh hi Steve, oh hi Harry, oh hi Phil, what you doing, going out, taking the dog for a walk, being down my granny's, all that kind of stuff. But there are, and those guys, I love you just as much as everybody else, but there are the real like hardcore lot who really are sort of like, you know, they talk amongst themselves, no doubt about it, and they have a bit of a laugh and a bit of a joke, but bring me all that information that I need during the show. I really rely on you guys because obviously I've got 2 devices that I'm working on, and sometimes it's very hard for me to chop between the channels and then go on to Flight Radar as well. So I appreciate your input on that one as well. Don't ever stop giving me that information, regardless how crazy you think it is, and any questions you might have as well. If I can't answer them, then the ladies and gents and the girls and boys that are watching on the channel will do their best to answer that, and that's both on Facebook and on YouTube as well. Okay, breathe. Tonight, in around about, let's have a little look. Let me see how long I've got, because we're just exporting this at the moment. Okay, 6 minutes left. Clean up on aisle 4, please. Okay, we've got 6 minutes left, folks. So right now, stay by your devices. Go grab yourselves a cup of tea or some bickies or whatever. In fact, there goes the alarm right now to let me know that it's just about ready. It's my dinner, actually. Yeah, so we'll be live with Storm Eric, the show, the full-length show that we put out in February last year. Includes the go-around with the Dreamliner, also includes a fantastic go-around with the 747, along with other crazy stuff. Now, this is what we like to see. It is runway 27 right from the Renaissance, and this will give you a real idea of what we love to film here on Big Jet TV. And I'm going to be live on there with you as well. So I look forward to chatting with you. Sling it on the big TV if you can and put it through the speakers. Be aware of the neighbours, of course. It's going to get late and there may be people wanting to get to bed for work. But anyway, wherever you are in the world, enjoy this, and I'll see you there in around about 10 minutes, around about 7:30. Take it easy, folks. Thanks for your patience. See you later. Bye.